Hello everyone, this is Ino-Co here, and I'm playing a little bit of Warlock, Master of the Arcane. So this is a strategy game developed by Ino-Co and published by Paradox. And probably the closest comparison I can make is Civilization, and more specifically Civilization 5, and it definitely seems to be very similar to that game. In fact, I've had a look on some forums and some people seem to be saying, hey look, is this like a Civilization 5 mod? It's not, it's a full game, but the comparison is rather apt. So, choose difficulty setting, and, like Civilization and games of similar ilk, you can pick, different world types. All the maps are going to be procedurally generated. I don't see, any static maps or a way for them to exist, but maybe there is, or at some point in the future, and you could pick the number of rival great mages. And here's one cool thing that this has, is that there are actually additional small worlds. So you'll start off fighting in your main world here, but you could actually travel to any one of these smaller worlds. I will show that off later. And you pick a mage to use, and they all have different traits. So you can see she's a farmer and starts with a bit of extra gold and has the favor of one of the gods, Argrella, or however you're supposed to pronounce it. And there are a couple of different races. So these guys are humans, you've got undead, and rats, goblins, more like a general sort of monster race. And each one of them has special abilities. So this guy's really good for getting lots and lots of money. But I'm not going to do any of this because starting a new game would be very boring. So I actually have a game which is about 40 turns in. So it's still relatively early. This moves a lot faster than Civilization does, and really the focus of this game is really about combat. It's not really on the city management,
Your Excellency,
trade
someone
routes and
has
so on.
humbly requested your aid.
And oh look, also there are quests. This quest is to capture this neutral city. They're sort of doled out every now and then, usually kill monster, capture cities of another great mage or whatever. That's over a giant gap of water. I'm clearly not getting there. I have a couple of port towns, but I don't have any ports to speak of because honestly I don't care that much. I've got quite a lot of space here. And dotted around the map you can see there are various resources. So I've got a dwarven settlement here, which is going to take forever to actually get to. Magic fields. Do I have... Look, pumpkins and Minotaur labyrinth. So that's one of the cool things, is that on some of these resources you can actually pick one of multiple types of buildings. This one gives direct resources, and this other one would give me access to a perk, a blessing of Hillowin, which is something cool. And every new unit that's built in this town will be given that perk, but I could just pay actual gold to give perks to my existing units. And really, it's not really about building massive armies so much as it is building a small number of very powerful units. You could certainly build mass units, but that would be very expensive in terms of upkeep, which you can see here if I highlight it. Got losing 10 gold a turn to upkeep. But for the most part my economy is pretty healthy, mostly because my army is tiny. I've got these two guys over here, these two guys over here, which is probably quite bad considering there are two great mages right next to me. But from the diplomacy tab you can see that they are currently neutral and we are not at war, and with any luck that will stay that way for a while. Yeah. So, like I said before, there are other worlds, and this mystic portal will lead me to one of them. And generally you don't really want to go through there because you're going to die a horrible death because they're very powerful monsters. So let me just pick one of these units, which is more expendable. Who cares? Yes, I want to send him through the portal. And he spawns right next to some golems and giants, and this guy's standing on top of the portal, so these guys are going to die horribly. But if I Let's move them out of the way. And you can see, I really should be bringing like a massive army because I can't fight any of these. This is one itty piddly unit, but for the greater good. So let's build up my economy somewhat. One thing I think this game is sorely lacking is some form of like in-game encyclopedia, because it really doesn't give you any good way of figuring out what depends on what. So a troll bridge required for trolls and old trolls. As you can probably expect, that old trolls are the second tier of troll unit I can buy, but that also depends on something else, and from here I have no idea what it is. And in fact, I actually don't have any idea what it is, but I can see alchemy laboratory. What does an alchemy laboratory do? Well, it's basically for research, but I don't need that in this town. I think this town I want... Actually, I do want a troll bridge here. Yada yada yada. Build a library. Gives access to a clerics and wizards guild. That's pretty obvious. Tax officers. So yeah, you need tax officers. Required for Trolls Bridge. That is not at all obvious at all, and is a little bit ridiculous. You'll probably stumble onto it quite quickly, but some of these things aren't very clear, and it would really help if there was some easy way to browse like the tech tree. And let me just plop this down, and the title would have made you guess. Hey look, I can cast spells and research spells, and here are 5 possible spells I can research, but there are a lot more spells, and as you do research, new spells will be dropped into one of these slots. From what I can tell, there's definitely like some form of tech tree somewhere that determines what 5 spells end up in here, but again, it's not very clear. Like, I could finish this wind walking and I might end up with like a fireball spell here just because it was available, not because it was actually dependent on wind walking. But I've got a healthy number of spells here, nothing massive. Healing is probably the most useful spell for me right now. But let's finish constructing some buildings, and let's end my turn. Build more... No, I don't want that. I want to build a crypt because I want a Bill of Souls later, because that will increase my mana production from this town, because you can see lots and lots of mana production. And this is an undead town. Like, most of my cities are, and it's supposed to be like a Ratman Goblin kingdom, and for the most part it is. Pumpkin farm. Yes, I do want a pumpkin farm.
Attention!
This is excellent on the side here. It really helps out because it streamlines the entire process quite nicely. So I'm not like fumbling around saying, alright, what units do I have to move?
Sentinels!
I want to do that. Actually, I didn't want to move closer to the spiders considering they're a ranged unit. So move there. And we'll kill some spiders. Sorry, I really shouldn't be skipping the animations.
We are here!
So we gotta watch these guys get pummeled into the dust. Oh, they did somewhat better than I would have thought. Look, more units. So I could actually go back through the portal, but I'm sort of curious to see what is actually here. Oh. Right, that might not have been the best choice. Here are vampires. Here's a greater fire elemental. Some old wolves. I'm not worried about the wolves, actually. Okay, these guys are dead. But it's looking quite promising, that area. It's... I haven't seen a whole lot of resources. Holy Ground's quite useful because that allows me to build like a temple to the gods. And from the diplomacy tab, I probably should have mentioned this earlier. Here is like you're standing with the gods, and this would give you access to more spells and in certain cases like very unique, powerful units. Right, let's finish up my turn. kill those rogues. And greater fire elementals are quite deadly. As you can see. I think I can take these bears on there. Not too much trouble. And you can see if you do a lot of damage, and you can actually cause your opponent to retreat from the tower they're on. And one more unit.
We will speak and let him.
So he's just like trying to extort money from me. I don't really have an army, so... Oh, crap. They're coming through the portal. This is great. Well, I didn't know a huge amount about this game until a couple of days ago when it actually just came out and it looked awesome. And this is pretty awesome. It's... If you are into, like, this kind... Ow! That unit just died. That was mean. That was very, very mean. Unfortunately, I can't easily replace that unit. Quite a fair number of upgrades on it. They're alive! Not anymore! They're still alive! I keep saying that like it's going to help them live. Clearly not. Yeah, I'm gonna have to retreat back to Crypt Town.
The new spell
So yes,
research
neutral
is
units in
complete.
this, very deadly, especially at the beginning when you have a small army. I'm gonna go back to this town and try and rebuild some of that. So I have quite a lot of units to choose from, but for the most part, Goblin Spearmen. Way to go. New research. Yay! I can't remember what I was researching. I don't really want any of these. Suppose I could get Ghost Wolves. Yeah, let's get Ghost Wolves. It's a nice summon to have. Let's attack these from my town, and let's get my unit to attack. Did very little damage. That was very disappointing. Build a mana trap. So I want more mana. I probably don't need more mana, at least not right now. I have plenty of food, research. Sort of want money. Yeah, if you like this kind of strategy game at all, they're probably going to have a fairly good time here. Especially if something like Civilization is a bit too overwhelming. This is much simpler, much more transparent actually. And especially good if you just kind of want to kill things. Like supposedly this is a sort of pseudo sequel to... Oh right, I'm neutral with him. Why am I trying to attack that? To Majesty 2, which Ino-Co also worked on, but you know, I didn't play those games because I just never got around to it. I totally own them.
Ready to shoot something?
Step forward and just push my luck. But yeah, this game is kind of rad, and it's fairly cheap actually. I think it's £15 on Steam, and I think that's pretty much all I have to say on this for the moment. Right, thanks for watching guys. This has been Ino-Co. Bye.